This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome to Chapter 1 of our series, Reinvent Your Career Path. In this episode titled, Understanding Your Dissatisfaction, we're going to explore those nagging feelings that may be holding you back in your current career. Together, we'll uncover the personal sources of your dissatisfaction and set the stage for your next big move. So, let's dive in. Right now, as you listen, there's a good chance you're part of the roughly 4 in 5 workers who feel stressed or drained by their job. You might not hate it, but something's off. The real mystery today isn't, why am I stuck? It's, what exactly is my work trying to tell me? Maybe your dissatisfaction shows up as scrolling job boards at midnight, fantasizing about quitting during dull meetings, or feeling oddly guilty because, on paper, your job is fine. Those moments aren't random, they're data points. Psychologists call this the gap between who you are and where you work, a mismatch between your values, strengths, and needs, and what your role actually asks of you. Here's the twist. That uneasy feeling isn't just a problem to silence with a holiday or a new hobby. It's often the first reliable signal that your current career design no longer fits the person you've become. Think of those small moments of dread on Sunday night, or the energy spike you get when helping a colleague with something outside your job description. They're like subtle notifications popping up in the background, hinting at what you're underusing or overstretching in yourself. In this episode, we'll slow those signals down and treat them like clues rather than complaints. Instead of rushing to fix anything, we're going to treat this like a quiet diagnostic phase. The goal isn't to decide whether to quit, switch fields, or ask for a promotion. That comes later. For now, we're interested in patterns, when your energy drops, when it lifts, and what that silently reveals about the shape of work you're built for. Think of your workday like a sound mixing board. Some sliders, autonomy, learning, recognition, stability, impact, are turned up or down without you fully noticing. Dissatisfaction often appears when the mix is wrong for your ears, not because the whole song, your career, is bad. Here's where research gets especially useful. Those vague feelings you've been noticing can usually be traced to a few very specific types of mismatch. When people finally name which one is operating, they stop thinking, I'm just broken, and start seeing concrete levers they can pull. One category is task fit. You might be objectively good at your tasks, but subjectively drained by them. Maybe your day is 80% status reports and coordination, when your brain lights up during deep analysis, design, or hands-on problem solving. Over time, competence without interest feels like wearing shoes that are half a size too small. You can walk, but every step is subtly irritating. Then there's culture fit. This is about how work gets done, not just what gets done. If you care about thoughtfulness and your environment celebrates speed at all costs, or you value collaboration in a culture that rewards lone heroes, the friction shows up as cynicism, withdrawal, or constant second-guessing. People often misinterpret this as, I'm too sensitive, rather than, these norms clash with how I do my best work. Third, reward and growth fit. Rewards include money, yes, but also recognition, learning, flexibility, and influence. Research on motivation consistently finds that when you can't see a path to growth, or when the things you care about aren't what the organization values, you start to detach, even if the salary looks fine on paper. That's why pay rises so often produce a brief mood lift, followed by the same old Monday heaviness. There's also meaning and impact fit. You don't need a world-saving job, but you do need to feel that your effort matters to someone or something you respect. When your daily output feels disconnected from any outcome you value, numbness is a common defense. Finally, boundary fit. How your role interacts with the rest of your life. If the way you work chronically tramples sleep, relationships, or health, your body will start voting no long before your mind feels ready to. Think of these as different debugging logs your job is constantly generating. Your dissatisfaction isn't one big, mysterious verdict. It's usually a cluster of small, precise misalignments across these areas, waiting to be read more clearly. Think about a recent day when you closed your laptop feeling oddly flat, even though nothing bad happened. Maybe you spent hours in back-to-back meetings, contributing just enough to stay polite, but never enough to feel proud. That's often a hint about task fit. Contrast that with a day when you got lost in preparing a workshop, redesigning a process, or mentoring someone, and suddenly it was 5 p.m. without you noticing. That spike isn't random, it's a breadcrumb. Or look at culture fit through small moments. You propose a careful, long-term approach, and the room rewards the loudest, move fast voice. You leave with a slight emotional hangover, wondering if you're the problem. Over time, those microclashes accumulate. For reward and growth, notice when you quietly stop volunteering ideas after they're repeatedly ignored, or when you feel a pang watching a colleague learn something you've wanted to try for years. These aren't overreactions, they're your internal metrics flashing red, asking you to investigate where the real friction lives. Dissatisfaction is often less about the wrong career and more about outdated assumptions you've outgrown. As your life shifts, health, caregiving, curiosity, your internal settings quietly update, but your role rarely auto-adjusts. Treat this phase like updating a phone's operating system. Some old apps glitch, others need replacing. Noticing which parts crash first points to where redesign will give you the biggest return, long before you're forced into an emergency reboot. When you start treating your unease as data, your workday becomes less like a maze and more like a map in progress. Instead of asking, "Should I quit?" the better question becomes, what exactly needs to change first? Next time that familiar heaviness shows up, pause long enough to name it, like labeling layers in a design file so you can edit with precision. Your challenge this week. For 5 workdays, set 3 silent alarms: late morning, mid-afternoon, end of day. Each time one goes off, quickly jot down 1. What you're doing, 2. Your energy level from 1 to 10, and 3. One word for your mood. Don't interpret, just capture. At week's end, scan for the specific types of moments that reliably drain or recharge you. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!